Hey guys, I'm your host, Judd Parker, and this is the Lift and Lead podcast, a place for information, company communication, and education that's going to make you better. And we're going to have a little fun along the way. Man, I'm super excited about today's episode. We are very, very fortunate to be able to chat with our new CEO, David Webster. We're going to find out where David came from, how he got to Barnhart, and maybe even a little bit about what he has in store for the future of Barnhart as we move forward. But first, I want to talk about some information for you guys. You know, there's a phrase that says, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I truly believe that. So what better way for us to communicate our work than through a picture? Think about how impactful it can be when you're taking good pictures of a job you just walked down, how you can communicate that approach to your field guys that are going to go out and actually do the work. You can show him where the problem is, or show her where you think she could set the crane up. Or let's say you're doing a haul route for a heavy load that's going to go over like the GS 800. Now you can use pictures to capture the overhead lines and the maybe underground culverts or vaults that you may not be able to see, or bridges that you're going to have to cross, and where they're underpinning and where all their structure lies. It's a great way to really communicate what we do. But even a better thing that a picture can do, it's a great way to thank our customers for a job well done. The pictures are wonderful as gifts for our customers when we do exemplary service for them. Think about how cool that is for a customer to have in his office a picture of a successful job that we've completed with our team. How proud does that make him feel? Well, just as I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's a good picture. A bad picture may not be worth that. So how do you know if you're taking good pictures or not? Well, this is a little tease, because in the next couple of episodes, we're going to have a group of people here at Barnhart that do nothing but help us brand, and they're going to help teach us what is a good picture and what is a bad picture. And when you get the pictures, where do you put them? And where are we going to take them? And how do they get to our customer? So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a really cool episode for you guys. So look for that. You'll see it coming up soon. I do want to switch over, though, to our communication. Just recently, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, Barnhart Bulletin 189 dropped. And in that bulletin, there was a service announcement from Bo Rhodes, who is our safety and quality manager, about inspections for equipment, and more importantly, auditing the inspections that we're taking on our equipment. This is vital to our role here at Barnhart. Our work, certainly done by super smart, very well qualified people, but the equipment, what we use, is what drives our work. And so we really want to make sure that our equipment is inspected properly, and those responsible for ensuring that the inspections are done properly are auditing those documents. So I actually want to read something to you. Bo wrote, and by the way, this is through a system we call a monthly safety focus audit. And it's exactly that. It's an audit that we conduct monthly to help ensure we're doing the right thing. Quality service is one of our core values, so we want to always make sure we're doing the best we can possibly do. What Bo says is, don't just perform audits, evaluate the inspections and audits done by your team. Look at some of the inspections that are turned in daily. Go out in the shop and the field and see how those inspections are being done. Ensure that they're being done well, that components are being examined, and that any identified issues are being communicated to the proper people. Also, choose a variety of equipment to audit, such as cranes, trucks, and tractors, and trailers even, forklifts, gold hoppers, etc. So my point here with you guys in this communication bulletin is that not only are we doing inspections, but we're doing good inspections. And we're ensuring through the audit process that those inspections are right, they're proper, and they're getting in our system so that we can learn and glean information from those. Okay, now, lastly, we always talk a little bit about education. So I want to talk about something that's pretty near and dear to us right now. I live in the Memphis area, and I would say over the last month, we've had maybe 1 or 2 days below 90 degrees. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot to maybe many people, but for us in the Mid-South, that 90 degrees, high 90s, including the humidity, is driving what we call a heat index or a real feel up into the 100s. In fact, I just heard today that our real feel temperature tomorrow is going to be 115. 115. That's incredibly hot. The humidity added, if you're not hydrating, you're going to get in trouble. And I'm telling you, this is my point on the education side today. Heat stress is super important to avoid. It is super important to prepare for heat stress. You can't just jump in the day of and start guzzling water and think you're going to be successful. You're going to have to hydrate the night before and throughout the day that you're working, including water and electrolytes, and avoid things like coffee, things that are highly caffeinated, because those things actually detract from your hydration and can cause you more distress. Now, we also have something in our company that we love to talk about, and that is see something, say something, which is kind of our way of saying be your brother's keeper. Well, when you're out there in your own jobs, you need to be your brother's keeper. You need to pay attention to your workmates. This is your responsibility and their responsibility to you to ensure that you guys are hydrating and not being succumbed. Is that the right way? Not being succumbed to the heat. That's what we got to avoid. And this time of year, again, we're just in the midsummer months. We have a long way to go. So pay attention to that. Just avoid heat stress. And if you have any questions, call and check with Bo Rhodes. We'll give you his email address right here. He can help you out to help send you a chart that will show you how to best hydrate yourself. As all of you know by now, after almost 39 years, Alan Barnhart is stepping aside as CEO of Barnhart. But fear not, we're in good hands. I can promise you that. Today, we're going to talk to our new CEO, David Webster. Going to ask David some really interesting questions, have a little conversation with him about who he is, where he came from, and what he has in store for Barnhart in the future. So, David, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Man, big shoes to fill. I mean, I can't imagine having to step in like Alan Barnhart, the name on the company, taking us to where we are today. So what's that like when Alan comes to you and says, hey, I think I want you to be the next CEO of our company?
Massive shoes to fill. And that's an understatement. That was actually, I don't know if you remember this, but my joke when I became COO that I had massive shoes to fill.
Yes.
But that was figuratively. Michael did the job like a titan.
Right.
But he also, I think, wears a size 15 or something like that. And so massive shoes to fill for sure. But yeah, absolutely massive shoes to fill. Not only is Alan really well known and highly regarded in the company, but he is really well known and a captain of our industry.
Oh, yeah.
And so massive shoes to fill. There's the inside facing piece and the outside facing piece, and no matter which way you're facing, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't really even think about the outward facing piece. I'm certainly aware of that.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm sure like a lot of people listening to the podcast, that's one of the things that they were most concerned with is like, how's it going to affect me as a Barnhart employee? You forget about all the stuff that he does with SCNRA.
Yeah.
The industry wide. That's really cool.
One of the things Alan and I have been talking about, I've asked him to remain involved with SCNRA in his committee work on the governing committee. So he'll continue to do that, and that'll be a good thing. And he'll continue to network on our behalf. But there are other things that he'll pass along to me, and this is something we've been kind of planning for a long time. So I'm on a number of committees on SCNRA too, and so the queuing up for me is somewhat natural.
It's cool too. I actually work for you, right? So not just theoretically, I actually do work directly for you. So, and I've had a chance to talk to you, so I'm very familiar with who you are and a lot about you and your background. But I want you to tell our listeners here kind of a little bit about your background. But you told me a story about your father's approach to work, and you kind of differ from that. I just thought it'd be kind of cool as let the folks know kind of how that molded you into who David Webster is now.
Yeah. My father and I are in many ways different people, but also in many ways quite similar. his it's not so much his approach to work. So he's a hardworking guy, always was, first guy there, last guy out kind of thing. And I certainly learned that and lots of other things from him. But dad he was a visionary. And so, I began my career in business really there. And he had the ability to see what was possible instead of what was. And he saw none of the encumbrances between what was possible and where we existed. And I quickly learned in business with him that it was my job to make those things, which he waved his hand over and seemed so easy, possible. And so it was fun, and also quite stressful.
That's right.
But yeah, it was a great training ground, honestly, to go to work for Alan because there are a lot of similarities.
What's going to make that same kind of
Yeah, yeah,
similarity and
yeah.
connection there? I'll let you do that though.
Yeah, no, they're both visionaries, and they see that lofty height of possibility and what it can be. And most of us see all of the problems associated with getting to that place, and really can't see the end game. And Alan absolutely can, and my father absolutely could. Now, I've had the privilege of working for those two guys and one other that were just visionaries, and they have empowered me to sort of lean into that DNA in me. And it's one of the things I really look forward to is transitioning from tactical David to strategic David. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm excited about that, and I plan to really aggravate John with some of the
Well,
strategy. Yeah,
that's a short trip. Easy to aggravate John. So that'll be good it'll be good for him as well.
yeah.
But I'd say that the success that this company has been because we've had visionary guys in that role. So for sure, you being here with that same kind of vision will take us to the next level, I'm sure. So, new CEO, what does that next level look like for us?
Well, it sounds like a cliche, but it's kind of more of the same. As we look at the U.S. and Canada, we're one of the titans of the industry now in scope and scale.
Mm.
But I don't know that the raters always take into account all of what we do. But I was having a conversation with the CEO of Maxim the other day, and I introduced him to someone and said, "This is the 800-pound gorilla in the room." And he looked at me and said, "I'm pretty sure you're the 800-pound gorilla." And so, anyway, we're bigger than we think. But as we look at the U.S., there's still a lot of ground for us to conquer, and there's still a lot of opportunity in the states for us. And so, more of the same. We're gonna continue to look for those strategic adds in terms of acquisitions. We're going to continue to look for soft spots in the market where we can plant a flag. Um, Canada has lots of opportunities too. We've got a lot of maturing to do there before we make a ton of investment, but lots of opportunities throughout North America. So I think it's more of the same in North America, and there's lots of growth yet.
Our last trivia question was how many current locations do we have? Don't give it away because I made them go back and try to do it again here before the end of this program. So yeah, I mean it's an incredible number, and to think that we're going to continue to grow and mature our company for years to come. Alan always said it's not just. I remember we had the 50-year anniversary. He said it's not just for this 50 years; it's the 50 years to come. And we all want. I certainly won't be a part of that, just from age. But man, just wow to think about where we can go. One more question too. Where do you see blind spots? Where do you think we can improve? Maybe how do we do that?
Oh, that's a tough question, Judd. Um,
I didn't say it was going to be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
here, right?
that's fair. I've said this at the last two summits. I think the danger for us is complacency.
Mm.
One of the ways that we hedge against that is our culture of innovation. We're always asking the question, is this the best solution? Is this the most elegant solution? Is this the most economic solution? And so I think that's a great hedge against complacency in our thinking. But I think the danger of complacency in selling work, assuming that we're the 800-pound gorilla, this is ours, that kind of thing, it makes us vulnerable. And in execution too, I think we have some investment to make in the area of personal ownership and excellence. And it's why our themes for the summits for the last 3 years have really revolved around this topic. If you look at formerly strong companies that are now no more or weak or for sale, and you look at where did the free fall begin, it was complacency. And so I think continuing to press into excellence, and there's lots in that. There's lots of places where we press in, but part of it is celebrating the areas and individuals who really excel in this area. So there's lots in that, but yeah, complacency.
No, I think that's a great answer. It's certainly something that we need to be mindful of. I think our core values lead us away from that, but it's always something good to lean into. We're so glad you're here to lean into this. It's a pleasure to do this interview with you, and I know again we're in really good hands. And I think the next couple of years are really going to be powerful moves for us. So thank you very much for joining the Lift and Lead podcast, and we hope to have you back again.
And thank you. Great to be here.
So I know you guys all love the trivia part of the podcast, and I get that. But I have to tell you, nobody's answered the question yet correctly from last episode's trivia question. So I'm going to ask it again. Let's see if we can get it right. We're looking for the number of locations Barnhart currently has, including satellites and Barnhart Canada, but not BEC. So again, how many locations do we have? I got some crazy answers. I got everything from way in the hundreds to down there like in the low 30s and 40s. We've been past that for a while. So let's try to reload again. You can just send me a response. Hit me at this email address. It's podcast@BarnhartCrane. Not my email, but I'll take those as well. podcast@barnhartcrane.com. Hopefully somebody's going to get the right answer because we still got that Carhartt backpack ready to go for you guys. So this has been another Lift and Lead podcast. I'm your host, Judd Parker. And remember, focus when you lift and serve when you lead.